Very cool.
Yeah.
So now, as an African American and a Jew,
yes,
do you feel like torn when you read about some of the tensions that are between, you know, like in Crown Heights and some of the tensions between
Absolutely.
the African American and Jewish communities?
Absolutely.
Do you like want to go and beat yourself up?
Not necessarily. I don't want to beat myself up.
Oh,
what
good.
I do want to do is have some of the brothers, the African American Jews in New York, put in touch with the Lubavitcher and put in touch with some of the young men and some of the leaders in the African American community and bring them to the table. I think that we bring and could bring an immense amount of understanding from both perspectives.
As the black Hebrews.
Black Jews.
Okay.
Black Jews could bring a very interesting perspective,
Yeah.
both as black and as Jewish.
Sure.
So that what I feel is that there's not enough attempt at communication. I think that people are, for instance, the person that was killed, the child that was killed
Right.
by the van.
Right.
One story that got out amongst the general population was when the ambulance came, that it took the driver of the van to the hospital and left the child under the ambulance.
Well, I heard that story.
That can enrage you, okay?
Is that true?
It wasn't true.
But it was a great story.
It was a great story, but it was an untrue story. So that the flames of
Yeah.
racism
Yeah.
were fanned. And as a result of that, a tragic thing happened because a young rabbinic student was murdered in the process. And now David Dinkins is having all types of problems, I think unfairly so, particularly from the Jewish community, as if David Dinkins is to blame for the young men being acquitted, like he said, acquit them or let them go.
Well, he's the mayor, and this is what you have politicians for, is to beat him up.
To beat him up, I guess so. So he serves in that capacity. But what they need, I think, is an organization like the Jewish Council on Urban Affairs that has been working in the city of Chicago for over 28 years, trying to bring about fighting against racism and anti-Semitism.
Ms. Ledina, are there any Jews left in Ethiopia, or are they all gone?
They're basically all gone.
Really?
Yes, they
Wow.
are basically. I spent the last 2 years there, and one of my roles the last year was to find those of them that were left and to try to help them get out. And they are now out.
So does this mean your organization is...
I wouldn't put it so dramatically, but I think that
well,
we were formed to provide relief and to rescue Ethiopian Jews. And we did that. We completed our mandate, and I think that within the next 6 months, after we complete a couple of projects in Israel that were involved in an absorption, I think that we will vote to disband the organization. Yes.
Wow! Well, now, wait a minute. This goes contrary to the laws of bureaucratic self-preservation. Surely you can find something else for yourselves to do. There must be one or two Ethiopian Jews left now.
Well, I think Israel now has an embassy in Ethiopia, and if there are one or two of them that are left, they can find their way to the embassy, and I'm sure Israel can bring them out. But we focused on our mission.
Yeah.
We accomplished it, and now it's time for those of us that want to still be involved. There are other organizations around that we can be involved with.
That's great. Now, so where do you stand these days on conversion to Judaism within the African American community? Would you like to encourage it? You would like to see more black Jews?
I don't necessarily want to encourage it. I don't discourage it either. I have sent many people to UAHC, Union of American Hebrew Congregations, that
Alan Bregman.
Alan Bregman's group. They run a conversion class. You do have African Americans who want to live in Israel and who want to do it right, and they want to be recognized as Jews.
Jews get automatic citizenship in Israel?
Yes.
You a citizen?
Well, if I went to Israel and applied for citizenship, I guess I would have no problem.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good of it.
So it depends upon the person's, if they want to go to Israel, I will certainly sponsor them.
But by mainstream Judaism doesn't recognize you as a rabbi, is that right? I mean, That's
true. But you see, we can't sit back and say that mainstream Judaism doesn't recognize me.
Yeah, European Judaism.
Like I asked them, I need to see their ordination from God, that He has given them the authority to say who has the right to define how he should or should not be worshipped. I think that mainstream Judaism's main problem is the fact that we use the term Jew, which some blacks try to avoid by calling themselves Hebrew Israelite. But we use all of the terms interchangeably, Hebrew Israelite, and Jew, and that our understanding of God, I think, is just as legitimate as any Reform rabbi, conservative rabbi, Orthodox rabbi, or Reconstructionist. Now you have the humanistic movement. Each of those groups have had the right to define their Judaism for them, and yet they would say that I don't have that right to define it. It would be now like the Methodist Church coming to the AME Church now and saying what Thomas Paine and Richard Allen did, you guys should rethink.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Rabbi Capers Finney.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much, Ms. Ladina Schnapper. Thank you very much for being my guest.
Appreciate it.
All right. Some people who've studied the matter contend that Abraham, Solomon, and many of the other great historical Jewish figures were black. Many of these people are on drugs, but their arguments are no less compelling. There have been black Jews for a very, very long time, maybe for longer than there have been white Jews. But the big question is, can chitlins be made kosher? We'll find out maybe next week. I'm talking with Aaron Freeman. See you then.